Hi, how you doing? So, I was talking the other day about solar panels and solar energy that we've been actually trying to create our own system, for the house to try and go as off grid as possible, but obviously with help from people who know a lot more than me about engineering and about solar panels and solar systems. I've got a friend who has built an entire system himself, and he's actually built it for other people in their homes in England and in Spain. And I went to have a look at his system, and we had bought a wind turbine, which I thought was a really good idea at the time. But then when I opened the box and seen that it was literally I had to build this whole system, not just wiring it in, but build the machine itself as well, kind of off-putting. That's not my field of expertise whatsoever. So anyway, he's seen the wind turbine, and we were discussing the solar panels and the solar system. So we swapped it. So literally traded it. So I got a 400-watt solar panel, huge split cell one as well, which means if part of it goes dark or shaded, the rest works correctly. It doesn't switch the whole thing off, which a lot of panels do, by the way. But also I got the inverter, which is the charger which sends the solar panel can connect to actually start changing it to, I can't remember, AC, DC, or whatever. All right. But now we're working on getting a battery from him as well. So this will literally be an off-grid system that we can wire into the house. So we can actually get the panels that will be using this converter to then add onto a battery, which he builds the batteries as well. And they're really good, attractive looking batteries. They work brilliantly. And that could literally run the house off grid. So you could say, for today has been gorgeous sunshine from when we went out at 6 o'clock this morning right the way up until now. What time is it now? It's 5:15, and it's still gorgeous sunshine. All of the batteries that we have been, I've got a little video clip I'll show you of the solar panel, the 400-watt one. Okay, look, this is the 400-watt solar panel. It's like a split cell, they call it. So see how it's half dark, right? If it was not a split cell, as soon as you have one cell that's blocked, then it all switches off. On the split cell, see, half of this is dark. I'm going to move it in a second, I'll show you. But the other half is still working, so it can show you how much is actually getting generated. So you come down to the generator to read it, right? I'll have to switch it on. So it's actually only 17. It was 320 odd before. Okay, so you got that is the output, because that's running the fridges and freezers, and that is the input. But that was 300 and odd before. So I'm going to move the panel so it's in full light, and then show you if I can film it in the brightness, I'll show you the difference. Right then, see if we can see the reading here now. Turn it around. There, you can see it. Is it clear? It's coming up, it's 270, 290. But before it was even higher than that. And then let me show you the ones. Look, these are actually the ones on the shed there. So we've got 3 panels there which go into a separate battery. Also of the charging unit as well, the power unit that it's charging, which is at nearly 100%, but it's been running the fridge and freezers all day from there, and it's still got 100% charge, right? So if I unplug the solar panel, it would still take a day to run all of those fridge and freezers, and before it would go to 0%, so anyway, but the batteries that he makes are far more powerful than that. So the system that we're going to create and build, he's going to help me. Obviously, he's going to do all of the technical side of it. I'll hold his screwdrivers and spanners. Um, but we're going to create this so it's going to be completely off grid. So it's good, but it's going to be interchangeable with the switch. So what happens is if we go into a horrible time and it's raining and there's no sun whatsoever, these work off daylight, by the way, not just sunshine. The sunnier it is, the more energy it creates, but it does actually generate through daylight, not just sunlight. But obviously not a great power leaps compared to when it's really sunny. So we can interchange it. So when it's really good like this, then we can be running it there completely off grid, so you're not using any electricity from the grid whatsoever, and then we can switch it back on to the electric supply if it was actually needed. So we've got literally by the time we're finished, we're going to have 2 solar systems running, one on the grid and the other one completely off grid. So both will be individual battery supplies. So let's just say, for instance, we've got the grid one hits up to where it's got a big battery and a big inverter. That gets to 100%. All right, it starts feeding it into the grid. They don't really give you much for it nowadays, so we can attach it, unplug it, and put it into the off-grid one, and that'll charge up that battery as well. So we were actually the solar panels that we've got would then be feeding both systems. All right, so it can be running the house for free, but then also charging up the off-grid battery as well. So we've got battery storage for when it was really horrible weather, so it kind of even things out. So anyway, it's I'm going to show you some of the panels that we've got on the shed, and another one I've literally just got it. It's not attached to anything. I was just showing you, and it's like the 400 watt one, really big one. Then I'm probably going to take the little ones off the shed, you can see, and put the big one on the shed roof. But I'm showing you it and showing you how it charges and the actual feed you get from it. It's just really, really good. So anyway, what time is it now? Well, give me a look. Where am I running? Doesn't actually tell me how long the video is for. So the wind turbine that I bought, which I thought would have been a good idea, couldn't work with the system that we had. You could have set it up completely off grid, but it would have been more difficult, to run. And right where I'm based, if I had put it up where I wanted to, it could have been very noisy. And it was a hell of a lot bigger than what I thought it was. It's not one of them big windmill ones. It's classed as like a vertical tube one, but it's a lot wider than what it looks. I've seen it now. He's built it, and he's actually showed me it built it, and it's massive compared to what I thought it was anyway. So yeah, that's this is our bid to move as far away from the actual control system that's been set up for you. Okay, so we're trying to generate as much of our own free energy as possible, and it isn't just about having it free. It's about like not being controlled and not being told when you can do things and how you can do things. Last winter, all right, they were increasing all of these energy prices ridiculously, but at the same time as they were telling you there was going to be shortages of power, blaming this war that they've created in Ukraine and everything like that, and we've been doing a lot of studying recently about like the other wars that we had. The First World War in particular, which was absolutely completely fabricated, like not fabricated, that's not, but like created from nothing. So literally they could actually stop people trying to live free. It's what that anyway. I don't want to go too much into that, but that's the winter, like that they were threatening all the time to cut all the power off and not have any electric or heating or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. So which is, you've got people who are looking to go off grid, as in growing their own food. We've only got a very small garden, so we can't really grow tons of food in it. So we're still looking for a bit of land somewhere, so fingers crossed one day we'll be able to get that and be able to start growing our own food. But in the meantime, we have to just do what we can do. We do shop more at farms and farm shops. So if it really did get a bit rougher, then if you've got contacts and stuff like that with farmers or farm shops, you're gonna be able to find it easier to shop than you are when they just go shut down the supermarket and you're not allowed in the supermarket, or you're not allowed to buy certain products at supermarkets. So that's what we do. But in the meantime, the biggest thing that we can do now is to try and develop our own energy. I mean, I've been looking and trying to study on how to do it with magnets and stuff like that, but how to do that on a scale that would run a house. I've seen it, and people do it with magnets and motors to be able to run lights, small lights and stuff like that. But how would that run an entire house? How big would the system need to be? Whereas, what Dave, the guy who's doing the solar for us, the panels, obviously go wherever you put them outside, but the units inside, it's not much bigger than my printer here. It's not huge at all. So anyway, quite interesting times when it comes down to that. So I've got some little pictures or little videos there I'm going to show you of the panel, and they're just sitting in the garden, and I move them around. Apart from the ones that we've got stuck, they're only cable tied onto the shed roof. I've got little hooks, that circles, so they're screwed into the shed roof, and then it's just cable tied to keep the panels down. But when we put the bigger one, I've got some brackets to put it on. It'll be solid on the shed roof. Hopefully never get the winds we had a few years ago and blow it away. But that actually generates double the amount of what the smaller panels. So we've got 3 panels, and this one single panel generates twice as much as what the 3 separate panels run together do. So that's interesting to find out as well. So it's just making sort of I wouldn't say mistakes, but you're trying to go forward, you're doing experiments, you're learning how to do things, and we're moving on. This to me is all about the way of being. Well, it's to be as free as you possibly can be. I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking about being free and having freedom, which is what standing in law is, and being I a man, I a woman, standing in the law of the Creator as mankind, the law of mankind, which is not statutory legislation, right? So as we're going to be standing, in law, gives us that freedom to be, well, I'm a man, and the man does not have to follow legislation or be told what to do. Remember that we have the private and the public side of things. So, what I mean by the public, you've got to have a bank account. So you've got to be in the public to have a bank account. If you're using money or cash, all right, it's not really money, but currency or cash, it's in the public, okay, which is why we talk about when we do our trusts, you can't put cash, as you call it, into a private trust because it's public, okay. But you can put your interest in certain, say if you have a pension, you can put your beneficial interests in that pension in a private trust. It doesn't guarantee that the government can't go and steal it or anything like that, because it's a separate entity to you, isn't it? But so you've got to work on the private and public, whereas if you go onto the roads, you're in the public. You can have your argument about it. I know both sides of the argument. I'm traveling, I'm not driving, it's not in commerce, blah blah blah. You choose which way you want to go, but you are on a public highway, no matter which way you think about it, and you have to make your choices on how you want to do it. But the way I see it is that you dip in and out of the public and the private, and you can use the public and the private all the time. And this is all part of trying to build our freedom and to live more the way that we want to, and being able to generate our own power this way. So, we've always had this chimney, and we never did anything with it whatsoever. And then we had literally, I didn't even know you could still get them. It was a chimney sweep come and unblocked it, right? Although they don't climb up the chimney or anything like that now. And actually, it was if you ever had the plumbing done and they've blocked the drain and you see the Dynarod things and they push the rods down, it's similar to that now. And they just use a drill, literally switch the drill on, but it's not a drill. It's just spinning this big brush around and it cleans out. It was just full of old birds' nests. So anyway, we cleaned that out, and when we've cleaned it out, then we can actually use it to make to have a fire, a log fire, instead of using their system, which is like, you know, the gas. So we're trying to move away from everything. Now I know all the stuff they're saying about they're going to try and make wood burning in their world illegal, but I'm going to be standing as a man. I'm not under legislation, right? I stand under law, and it's everything that we have from that edge there is all private land in a private trust as well. I don't want to go too deep down the trusts, but you know, this is where we mix the public and the private. We have to learn how to be in both, which is why we have our hats. I know it's just silly, but it is a bit fun. All right, so like, you know, we're always going to try and work as much as we can, like in the private. All right, and that's how we're going to try and live our lives and that. But now and again, you have to go into the public. All right, and then when you're in the public and you go and do the jobs you need to do using your bank accounts, etc., or the currency, as it were, right, and then get back into the private, or you're going from, you know, being working like kind of a citizen to going into being, I'm a man, right? Now I'm a citizen, now I'm a man, kind of thing. Okay, so a couple of weeks ago I was down in Kings Langley near London, about half an hour outside of London by train anyway, and done a course down there helping people with private trusts, etc. Had a great turnout. They all had a great time. I've done a few webinars for them ever since, you know, to try and continue the education and help them with the trusts. So I'm going in a holistic egg tomorrow. No, not a holistic egg, harmonic egg. So I'm getting some, I don't exactly know what I'm going to be doing, but doing some meditation sitting inside an egg. So looking forward to that. And then next month, right, in May, I'm going over to Ireland and doing a presentation over there. So everything's going ahead, trying to help as many people as possible, and having a good time while we're doing it. What better life can you lead? Trying to help mankind, but helping yourself at the same time, and looking after your little doggies as well. And come here, Mia. Hey, Mimi. Where's Mouse? Where's Mouse? Mouse. Mouse. Where's Mia? Where's Mimi? Come on in, Mouse. Little Mia, Mimi, found her in a plastic box, just left on her own about 12 years ago, with 3 babies. And this is the one, he's from Spain, rescued as well. That's the one that tried to kill me last year, put me in hospital, nearly chewed my thumb off because he was scared. Mate, Mouse, come here. Come here. No? Alright then, just sit there with your big ears. Hello? Are you coming? What are you doing? Alright then, be like that. Yeah. Yeah. Trying to generate power by using what the creator has created and given us. So have a look at them panels. I'm going to stick them in somewhere here for you to have a look at, and hope you enjoy. And we'll keep going with it. All right, see you in a bit.